right, we are back. We are back with another episode of Pro Bikini News Network. I'm your host, John Elgandy, and today we're going to be recapping the Hurricane Pro, and we're going to touch upon the top two at the Mexico Pro, and also we're going to be previewing Prague, which is one of the biggest shows. This show is always that show, like you always get like some top tier athletes come into Europe and compete in this one. Over the years you've had, I remember in the European tour, you had like your Kai Greeds, you had Sean Rodens, Samson Dauda. This was his first pro win. Um, in bikini, I remember back when India Paulina won it in 2014, I believe. Janet Leug won this one, and you'd always have those athletes from USA come and compete in Europe to kind of like set the standard for the criteria as well, and it helps those athletes there who are competing. We only have one USA athlete in that show competing, and we will talk about that after we touch up on our two shows. um it's exciting. Last year, I mean, the tickets sold out like completely when Bumstead was in it, and I really wanted him to win that show really badly, and I was happy for him. I've never been happy for another man happy in my life, and he took second and Martin won that. So I mean, I was like on that live stream, like zooming, like this was history being made right here. I had to like witness it, and seeing it, how crazy that people they tracked him down. They found his Airbnb. He had like, I don't know what Uber Eats is in Europe is, but he pretty much had to do that to get his food there. And that the crowd went wild. It was crazy. People got his autograph, and then it's the same day they got his tattoo on his arm. But it's an exciting show. I mean, it's great to see that people are competing more and doing this. I mean, the open lineup is 28 in open men's. It's crazy. um there's a good number in bikini this year as well. There's not, we're not just like, there's not many no names. There's a few people, like we have Olympians in this lineup. We have two girls who already have wins to qualify for next year. So going to be excited to see this. But I wanted to talk about the weekend shows, and we had four shows. So in Hungary, we assumed Victoria would win, and she won. And then we had the what was it? In the Brazil show, I had it between Sharon and Nevea. And Nevea, unfortunately, was sick and she had to pull out, and Sharon won. And also Mexico, I had it between Cass and Kerrigan, and it was really close. And it was really close, but Cass had the better edge, and congratulations to her. That was her first pro win. I hoped she would have qualified for this past Olympia. I mean, she's just been right there, nailing it. She's been like second and third all season, and I'm happy for her to win. And hopefully she gets another win, this coming season, picking the right shows, and she gets qualified for the Olympia. But I'm just proud of her. She's made the adjustments. She's fixed her mistake, and we're going to talk about that. And in Hurricane Pro, we're going to get to that. But we had Amy Delgado winning it, and she won. And we're going to talk about that. I did watch that like live streams, so I got to see everybody, and I could see why the people placed the way they did, and people could argue for first and second, but I felt like overall complete physique was winning. But I just wanted to kind of touch up on one thing, and it just kind of bothered me this whole weekend. The lighting at these shows, they were so bad that it took away the athletes like look. Like the Brazil show was like so dark. Like when I was making my post for Sharon Ramos, I had to like contrast it so it doesn't look like it's too blended in. And then Fit Parade, I was like, okay, I get it. It's like this purplish pink background. I just felt like it was too bright. And then the Mexico show with that LED screen, I get it with the sponsors and stuff. I understand. But man, it's just like, it's so bad. Like even the photos and stuff, I look at it so bad. Like I remembered at New Tech Gym just talking to Joe Palacios about his USAs, when I'm like, man, you look really impressive. I'm like, but I said, those photos don't do you justice. He's like, yeah, I don't look at them. Like, I look good, but man, those photos were so bad. Like, it got to do more for, it's not about, it's doing more for the athletes. If you ask me right now, who I felt the best shows this year that was more of an athlete experience and that the fans really appreciated, I will say, I think of all of them, I think Texas Pro, what Freddie Naidoo and Sheila did was amazing. My teammate Zay, who's in Classic, got to that show, and he said it was awesome. The production, I loved it. I definitely will be back next year. He enjoyed it so much. Jamie Sterling for Indie Pro, she took note of the Detroit Pro with the dark backdrop, and she did that for her show. And everybody looks so good, and I can tell what's going on. And it goes a long way, because if I pay for Gilco or battle up media to do my videography and stage videos and stage shots, I want to look back at that and go, man, I look good. And, you know, when I pay them at the check-ins, I'm like, made me look good. I worked hard for this. So I want to look back and reflect and go, wow, you know, versus just, it's just a post. And, you know, I'm like, I don't want to look back on it, but it means a whole lot more. I understand sponsors, you know, they pay you to have their brand recognized and to say, you know, hey, I helped sponsor the show. So put my brand up there, put it big, you know, put it up on the screen. But there are ways of doing it to make them not look good. I mean, I'm happy that the Olympia did kind of black backdrops for the prejudging in the finals, and it wasn't so like crazy and stuff this year, because people complained that, you know, when they were watching the live stream, oh, the lighting was so bad, but like in person it wasn't so bad. I was focused on the athlete, which I care about more. I even said this to a lot of the athletes. I don't care about the environment around me, like going out to eat, going out to do all that stuff. I care about you. I care about, you know, coming to, if I have to, like, you know, I literally said this, I had the Jay Cutler Bowl 3 times. I didn't go out to any restaurant. I just cared about I like, even when I was in Orlando, I'm like, Buffalo Boss, Uber, like I DoorDash or Uber Eats that, and I enjoyed that. I said, but I care about you. I care about you guys looking your best. You know, you guys look great. I'm happy. That's all that matters. It's not just I'm here to watch you. No, I'm here to see you guys, and it goes a long way to make the athletes look good. You know, when you have all these laser lights, these LED screens, it washes people out. It takes away the work that they've done for like weeks and months on end to come to the stage and look like this. That's why I feel like the ones who really put more for the athletes and then fans mean the most. But there are many ways of doing it. You just have to be creative. I know not every promoter can always do that because of the cost. And obviously, it's a business; they're here to make money. So, I mean, just the little things. But anyways, I'm going to touch up on the top 2 in Mexico quickly because I felt like it was between those 2. So let me get to this. Let me try to pause. Okay. So it was clearly between the top 2. It was between Cassandra and Kerrigan. I think this is one of the best they both ever looked. It was a small lineup, so I didn't want to go over that top 5. But from the front, I love Kerrigan's front pose. I just feel like she just needs a little more upper. This is way much more improved than I've seen last year, and she's getting better every year as time goes on. And obviously, working with her new coach, it's worked very well. I do love the suit color on her. Her tan was really good. I feel like Cass's tan was just a little lighter, but then again, this lighting, this backdrop, it feels like when you're in the center of the stage, it's not so distracting. But the ones from the side, if like you were like 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, it's kind of like it takes away your whole look. But I mean, from the front, I say Kerrigan's got more tighter. She does have a thicker waist, but she's brought that down. I think for her, she just needs a little more legs just to balance out her glutes and just a little more upper glute. And I don't think she needs more shoulders if I'm just looking at this, but you know, that's one thing I would probably add a little bit more to. I think she could just kind of like fill out because you do kind of see her bicep right here. Cass, on the other hand, beautiful look, love the physique. The pink suit does well for her. You know, it can contrast, but I feel like her tan just needed to be, like I said, it could be wrong. Like I saw what she looked like outside the stage, and she looked great. This is one of the best like she's ever looked. Like has her shoulders in. She's in condition. She's not too hard. Some people said that she was like a little too hard. I don't think so. Her core is tight. Just an overall beautiful look on her. So let's just go through them posing. Let me turn this volume off. Hold on. Let me turn off this volume. There you go. I don't want demonetization, so let's get them into their back. It's when they're both set. I'll tell you this, that crowd went wild for Cass. You know, they were going crazy for especially like we need better fan base here in the US versus international. Like it's crazy because you see Japan, Korea, Brazil, Spain. Those their fan base goes their crowd and their fan base goes crazy. I don't know, like because they've never seen many bodybuilders before, and it's kind of like here in the U.S. we kind of see them everywhere. But yeah, they were going crazy. But in the back, I mean, Cassandra has more width to her shoulder, so it narrows down into her waist. Um, Conditioning's really on point. She did fix her foot positioning because sometimes she'd have this foot way out, and it looked like this was kind of like side profile, and this is straight on. Kerrigan, this is solid in the back. Like I said, I feel like the only thing for her, she just needs more glutes and just a little more shoulder up here. You see the walk to the back, you could see definitely why Cassandra overtook her. I feel like walking back, Cassandra's more full and Kerrigan kind of lost some of the upper glutes. Hmm. But overall, this a good look. I mean, the suit, the hair, the makeup, both of these two, like, they were the standouts. Like, it was clear, like, it was between one of these two to win it. I just think that Cassandra had the better edge. I think this is great for Kerrigan, especially, I feel like a little more time into it, definitely can get a win. And she got points now to qualify. And now, they now with Cass with 10 points and one pro win, she just won more to go into the Olympia. So I definitely think it's going to be a work in progress. But let me just go back. There. Let's go here. I like the suit cut on Kerrigan. They both have Toxic Angels, by the way. I do like her suit cut better. It does like it. The fabric's enough, so it's like enough to cover her glutes. But I feel like Cassandra needs just a little more. I just feel like it's a little too thin at the top. But her glute fullness really helped accentuate the physique a lot. Got great hair. It covers her back connectors very well. Like this is really like done right here. But I feel like right here, Kerrigan just could use a little more leg just to bounce out her glutes. Um, I'd say for Cassandra, it's just as it's pretty good right here. But in her fleet position, like I said, it was a little out. It made her glutes overpowering. But this is really good at like to fix her mistakes throughout the season. I just think she just probably needed a better tan. But the show went for so long. They had like about I think 4 to 6 divisions, and it was just an all day event for the pros on Sunday. They had the amateur on Saturday, so the open didn't finish until like 11 or it was mountain time, so I think it was 11 o'clock my time, and then it was like 9 p.m. their time. So it was just so long to go through it. Like they had early morning judging, and then they had the night show. But this is great for both of them. I'm happy for both of them. Okay, you go. Let's see. Let's go front. Let's see. Yeah. I do sometimes think Kerrigan's a little too tight, but it's actually not. It's kind of like they were almost in sync. Let's see, elbow. Yeah, I mean, from front, you could see from her lower back, it just rounds out. And then Kerrigan from lower back, it just goes flat. So she just needs a little more upper glute right here. And it would really accentuate her physique. It just filling out. And, like I said, sometimes when they get too lean, they look over too conditioned and look too hard. Just needs to find a way to fill out. I mean, she is a shorter girl, so it's just another way. I mean, Kerrigan's had some injuries. At the Olympia Expo, she was in a foot boot, but she recovered enough in time. So for her to do all that and to come here and get second, that's amazing. But Cass, as well. I mean, this is minimal makeup. It's not like back in a couple of shows, she'd like have too much makeup going on. And hold on, sneeze. she'd have too much makeup going on, and it kind of took away her look. Like, I'm looking at her face first before everything else, and this is minimal done. Even though the pink, it's not too bright on her. It's just like right balance. It's right amount where it's like I'm looking at, the suit, the hair, the glam, everything is really well on her. So congratulations to Cass. She got a pro win, and now she's gonna try to get one more. Okay. So then we'll get into, let's see, we'll get into the hurricane. Let's go to our first top 5 finisher, which was Chris. So this is a really good look on her. Like I said, I feel like the backdrops on these shows could be better because the orange and the fire, like they just need to make it minimal. She just came off the Olympia stage. I don't remember what call-out she was in. I think she was like, maybe, if I look back, maybe I'd say between 3rd or 4th. But one thing about Chris is like her front pose is probably what hurts her the most. Like, she has a great back pose, but her front pose is what throws her off because she's longer, she's short, has long legs, some long torso, thicker waist. What I would think for her is just to lower this hand position because it's just way too high up on her like midsection. So if she just lowers this hand just a little bit on her, like on like her hips, it would help accentuate her physique much more. Sometimes I feel like she is a European competitor. She has won shows in the US. She has been at the Olympiad. Like, I think she got 14th in 2019. Great poser, but I feel like for her, sometimes it's her glute fullness that could hurt her in the front. But this was pretty good. I just felt like she was a little too lead and little too like tight, just way too tight, which may have brought her down to that 5th place spot. But honestly, this is a great package from her. I think that she could continue improving on this. This lineup was pretty tough. You have top Olympians in here, so the makeup is minimal. Sometimes it'd be like too red in the lips, and I would kind of look at that first. But this is like everything like well done. Tans really well on her. So then we'll go into her back. So her back is really competitive. I do think that she just needs a better suit cut versus like this like T-back across. It's just something that could accentuate her glutes. Like, tie-ins are great, conditioning's on point. This hair, I get the curls, but I feel like it could be just longer, so it's like covering her lower back. I do think she's holding just a little bit of water. You can see like her skin folds right here. Feet position are good. This is like really well balanced from her glutes to her hamstrings to like everything else. Shoulders are really good. She doesn't need any more. It's just well balanced. Pose is excellent. I just think some of the girls ahead of her had just a little more to them, and that's kind of what brought her down to that position. But honestly, great look from her. Okay, next up we have Golsha. So this is her 2nd USA show. She did do the Olympia. She has an impressive physique, but the thing about her is like her waistlines in her front is what's going to hurt her if someone else has a better like snatched waist. This is a beautiful look from her. I do like the green suit on her. I think she wore blue at the show she won in Portugal. I think for her, it's just it could be the lighting, but she needs to find a way to like round out this upper glute and just come in more fuller. She probably could use a little more shoulders because it does look small on her. Now, like I said, it's different from what you see in person. I've seen her in person. She's shorter than I thought she was. I mean, like, oh, wow, I thought she was a little taller, but she isn't. She just seems to be taller than like I think she's like 5'4". But this is a beautiful look on her. I do like the green suit. I said at the beginning, I said I would love to see more green suits this year. And Marine so happened to wear a green suit unexpectedly, and she won. And Jazzy, she wore a green suit. I think the last time Jazzy even wore a green suit she even told me was when she got her pro card in nationals. But I think this is but I do like this look. I do like the hair on her. I like the like blonde streaks. It does complement her physique a lot. It does complement like her whole beauty and suit and glam. I just think for this front pose is pretty decent. I would change this foot position right here instead of pointing straight forward at the judge. Just have it slight right there, because I think things are different in bikini now. Because back then you could do that, but now you can't really do that. But everyone's working. One thing about her is because of her thicker waist, she needs to find ways to like minimize her waist to keep her torque tight. I feel like that's something that in certain lineups, if she has the better presentation, and that's what's going to help her to get into the higher spots. But the other competitors ahead of her were like more tighter in the waist. Okay, let's go to her back. So in this back pose, it's good. I feel like she needs to lower her hands a bit and just relax her elbows, because it's like she's like winging it too, like she's like, it's almost like too wide where it's like it takes away. Um, she could be a little more tighter in the conditioning in the back. Her glute fullness is great. Like I said, I think the biggest thing for her, she just needs more upper glutes. She's got great calves, but it's like you look at her calves before her hamstrings, and that takes away some of the looks on her. The tines are pretty solid. I just think she just needs a little more hamstring. If I was to look at her front quickly, she just needs just a little more hamstring. She has good hamstrings. She just needs just a little more of it. But in the back, it's kind of like it. I think she's doing that to like create the illusion of a smaller waist at the back, but it's just something that she has to deal with. It's just genetically. We had obviously working towards. I do think she just needs a little more leg as well to balance out these glutes. This foot position is really good, but it just, like I said, it just a little more leg, a little more conditioning, a little more hamstrings. It could really help accentuate your physique, and also just lowering this hand place and just relaxing your hands just on the top of your front thighs versus just having your elbows. Just have your elbows come in. But I get why she's doing that, but I just think she could just find a way to work around. The hair is great. This is some of the pictures are not fully posed. These are Dan Ray photos, so sometimes you get a close up, but the hair is really good on her. It could be just a little longer. It's great because I think right here it ends, so it's showing her lower back into her waist. So good package from her. This is great for her doing a USA show. So stop. And third, we had Yulia. So I didn't want to talk about this, until after the Olympia, but I did speak with her husband about this. But Yulia was dehydrated in Las Vegas, and she had to go to the ER. Unfortunately, she had to miss the Olympic prejudging, and she wasn't she was in the Olympics. She did check-ins, but she had to go to the ER. And unfortunately, because of the Vegas heat, being outside too much. But this was a really good look on her. I'm happy to see her come back and do much better than before. I did see this blue suit, I remember, in person, and I think it was really nice, and I really like it. But I think for her, one thing for Yulia is sometimes comes in a little too lean, and you can sometimes see it in her arms and some of the lines. But she's got a beautiful presentation, beautiful look. I love the hair, the makeup. This suit is great on her. I just do think she just needed to be a little more tighter in the core, and it could help accentuate your physique. She's got great glute density, and from this lower back down, you can see why she could place higher. I mean, you could bet that she could have been second in this show over the person who was ahead of her. She's got great hamstring development right here. Great width up top. Overall, this is a great package from any show that she's in. She's someone to be looking out for. She's always like in the top call outs, always in that top 10 spot. She's not someone that you could, take your eye off of. And she presents her physique very well. So then we'll get into her back. Right. This is a really good look on her. I do think that she just needed to come in a little more fuller. Sometimes it's like I'm looking at her quads first. Like I said, great glute development, great glute density. This hair is great on her. I think she just needs to have just a little cut right here. Like, got great hair. It covers her back well, but it's almost on her upper glutes. But it's just enough to be on her lower back. I would just make sure I would just make sure it's not right there. Hand position's really good. I do think Maybe I'm just seeing things. Maybe just fix the feet position a bit. Let me see. No, because I'm thinking how it's going to be balancing out. That's the biggest thing with bikini, just having the most balanced physique. If I was to say anything, it would just be just to stand just a little bit out, so but not like too wide. This is good, just maybe a little bit out, so it doesn't look like it doesn't look like her quads would be overtaking her quad or glutes. But she's got great glute inserts, great genetics for this, and I do believe this is a great look, and I'm happy to see her come back, and I'm happy to see her back into it. After what happened at the Olympia, it sucks to not be able to do the Olympia that you worked hard for, and last minute that happens. But I'm really happy for her. I'm really happy to see that she's back into it. Let me see, where's the second place? Hold on. I didn't have her front. Sinye. Let me go to second place. Here we go. So in second, we had Zinyi. She's amazing for the front. Like, that glute projection and fullness from the front is really good. I do think she needs a little more hamstrings. Another thing about her is she's amazing physique. I just think she's just leaning a little too forward in this one. And she's like keeping her feet a little too close to each other. I do think that if she has this foot a little more forward and just is more upright, it helps her physique out so much. She's got great shoulders. She doesn't need any more. There's nothing where it's like up top, it's like you need more of. I do. She's like a small waist right here. Beautiful look. These athletes from Asia are just truly amazing when you see them in person. But I do think for her, just fixing her front could really help her out. And, coming just a little more forward, you see this like quad split right here. Maybe, like I said, maybe it's different in person. That's one thing I think that she just needs to just fill out in her legs. Honestly, this is great development from a competitor like this. When she's in US shows, she does so good. I think she can honestly win a US. I think she did Sasquatch last year and she took third. But honestly, she can continue to compete here. She gets used to the criteria here. Gets a feedback from that versus winning overseas. She could do very well. A lot of these girls from Asia, I get it. Where it's like you're coming in from you're a day behind when you come to the US. But honestly, if she keeps the momentum going in what she's doing, I definitely think that she's one to be doing well in the future. These girls have, like I said, crazy genetics. She already had a pro win. She just needs one more to qualify. So, but yeah, I do think for her, just needs to just fix a couple things in her front and just fill out in her front. Because this is just amazing from from her shoulder to glutes. So I'm going to show you her back pose. I even told Sean, you got to look out for this one when she was previewing last year. Okay, let's go to her back. Now, this is where people were making comments about. She did look bigger than Amy in first, but a lot of people said that because her glutes were so big, it almost looked in her back pose, it almost looked wellness like, and I could see why. She's got great tie-ins from glutes. Is good separation from glutes to tie-ins. Longer glute inserts, kind of like your India Paulinos. Great gluteus fullness up top. I just think for her, she just needs to come in fuller in her quads. It feels like she's a little too, like I said, it looks too hard from the back, even in the front. From waist up, it's like right here. Like she has a small waist. Her hair is good. She just could crop this a little bit. Like feet position are good in the back. Like she's great in the back. She just needs to fix her front. And if she can match that, she's hard to beat. She's hard to go against. And I could see why she places very well. And the suit cuts fine on her as well. So, yeah. some people could argue that she could have won, but I could see why she placed this way. It just feels like it was a balancing act of like front to back. And even though she strung the back, it was just, you're judging from the back, she would have won. I mean, Amy's good in the back, but I feel like if you're just looking at back and forth and what's something that's like not overpowering or overtaking her physique, I definitely think that she just needs to find ways to like fill out her legs so it doesn't look too hard. And like I said, conditioning is good on her. She just doesn't need to come in too lean. She just has to find a way to come in fuller but not too lean. But I'm very happy for her. I mean, she's getting more points, and one more pro win, she'll qualify for the Olympia again. And I hope to see her do some big shows like Pittsburgh in the future. So we'll see how it goes. And then we have our winner, Amy. So she just came off the Olympia stage. She did go wear her pink suit, which she can pull off pink because of her dark hair. Not many people can do that. Some people said that she looked tired from the Olympia, but she pulled through, did the show, looked great. She's small in the waist, well proportionate. She is one of the best in the world for a reason. So the balance from her upper body to lower body is really well. One thing about her is fixing her front pose. I think this is pretty good on her right here. Feet position are very well put together. I mean, this is a great look from the front. I mean, I definitely think front pose, she probably had the best one in the whole lineup, and actually did it very well. And everything's just bounced out, so that I could see what they obviously, that was the first person your eyes were going to, and first. I do think that hey, she can alternate between pink and red sometimes, but I definitely think this was a right move for her, especially with that backdrop. So she played it smart. Always look at the stage. If you get an opportunity, look at the stage and then play off the colors you're going to go to. Because if you just pick your signature color sometimes, and let's just say I have a girl and their signature color is purple, right? And if there's a purple backdrop, well, you're going to blend into the stage too much. So this is a smart move on her to do that suit color, even though we're still used to seeing her in red. And there are just too many red suits. It's oversaturated this year, but it was great to see that the strategies and strategies that she's using to compete and do well. Okay, let's go to her back pose. I mean, her back pose is best one. It's well balanced. Her quads are not like too flaring to where it's like it takes away the physique. This is balanced from glutes to hamstrings, glutes to hamstring tie-ins to like her calves. Really well on her. The hair is well done. I do love the curls a lot on her. It covers her back connector very well. This is a really good physique. I mean, this is someone who you can contend to win the Olympia title, and she just needs one more win to qualify. And I think she's going to do more shows, so we'll see how it goes. But really well on her. The suit cut's great on her. Shout out to Toxic. So yeah, I do think for her, I would just find a way to like have her hair just not on her shoulders of this. Like I said, maybe, and I was watching the live, it was just kind of, it did kind of go back, but just has to find a way to like get the hair to not be on top of her delts. So if that's something that she obviously thinks can be fixable, because little things matter, especially on the Olympic stage. But yeah, she was clear winner. I mean, honestly, from everything well put together, she's got it all. All right. So then we'll get into Prague. So let's go to Prague. Let's see here. Let's go. Hold on. So we got a pretty good lineup right here. Obviously our standout is going to be Jazzy. She's third in the world. She's probably our front runner to win. I'd say another front runner to win would be Victoria. She just won in Hungary last week. She was 15th in the world. And then we have Patriza, who got a pro win. Honestly, seeing these, and then Allison as well. So I'd say that those would be our top four right there. I do have a top five idea of what I think this line is going to go to. So I did write it down. So we're going to look over these girls. So Jazzy, front pose is going to be one of her strongest. In her back, it just needs to fill out her glutes. But honestly, doing this is great. I think it's great for her to travel internationally. So I'd say Jazzy's one to be looking out for. Victoria. I even told her in person that she looked like what's it called? She looks like a model in like some shampoo commercial. But yeah, I mean, she had no expectations at all to do well at the Olympia, and she winds up getting 15th. Like I said, she has a great physique, but she just needed more upper glutes. And so let me see her fit parade look. Anything from the stage? Anything from individual? You probably have to pull it up on NPC News. But she did fill out her upper glutes from what I've seen. So I just felt like she needed to fill out her glutes and her upper glutes from the front and then match from the back end. Obviously bring down her shoulders. And I think she's done that. So we'll see. I mean, she could be, she could pull an upset. She could be the person to, really be a challenge to Jazzy. But we'll see how it goes. So then we'll go Allison. Like I said, she has a beautiful look. I just think the makeup could have been minimized from her Olympia look. And then in the back, it feels like her glutes are overpowering. She did say she got 5th call out. Let me see from the Olympia. Like, she has such an amazing physique and she's an awesome person, but I just feel like the makeup could have been better. And obviously from the back, it just, your glutes should just overtake her whole back pose. Great poser and everything, but just has to find ways to balance it out with the criteria here in the US. We call Allison a shapeshifter because she could, she could like adapt to like any, like she could adapt to Europe, she could adapt to USA. But I feel like you want to do well and she has her first Olympics, she got 12th in 2021. I remember, I feel like she could be one of those contenders, but when she's doing Europe shows, it kind of feels like it's hard to go and compete against some of these girls. But let's see how it goes. And then we have Patriza. I just think she comes in a little too hard. Sometimes it's typical of European competitors. Let's see from her last show. No, anything from stage. She's in person. She's impressive. I've got to say that. She's like small waist like this, but it just needs to just fill out with her smaller frame. And then I'm gonna go. Let's see, Sarah. Got an amazing physique, but I felt like she was kind of just lost in the lineup, just because how lean she was. Just needs to find a way to fill out. Then I'll say one that's been like 3rd, 4th, 5th in a lot of shows. Rania. The thing that I see is that because she carries a lot of muscle, she has a thicker waist. It's kind of hard for her to like beat somebody who has much more smaller waist, and it's much more balanced and proportionate. Got a great physique, and it's not taking away that she works hard, but I just feel like certain things, certain parts kind of hurt her. If she could just be a little more upright versus like here, she's like leaning forward, it could really help her out. But in the back, it's like so hard. Like their calves is the first thing I'm looking at first. It's just she has to work with what she has and just minimize it, and obviously be in the right lineup. And that's one thing I think that she needs to just work on is just minimizing her waist and just filling out her physique. She's short but has longer legs. And obviously that's one thing, like she can't come in like too stringy. But I'd say that would be our top 5. I did pull up names that were like second, third, fourth in a lot of shows. I'm okay. I mean, it's getting cold in here in Maryland, so sorry if I'm constantly sneezing. So we'll just see how this all pans out. So let's do predictions. Okay, let's do this. Let's go. Okay, I'm going Jazzy. I'm going to go Victoria. I'm going to go Allison. Patriza. Rania. I'm going to go Nedelku from Romania. She took second. Nora. I'm going to go Sarah. Luca. And I'm going to go Lauren. So I could pick a top 5. It could be wrong. Like I said, we don't know what shows up best on show day, but from 6th to 10th, that was like hard to pick. But I only went with girls who I recognized and based off like who has been 2nd through 5th in shows. So either some of these girls could wind up beating one of the, I say top 5. Like one of these girls in the top 6th through 10th, I would say we could be in that top 5. But I think it's most likely going to go this way. I could see Rania maybe 4 or 5 at most. I could see her lower than like 8th, just depending on who's better. But I would say it's between Jazzy and Victoria for the win. But I would say the most likely, I'd say Jazzy has a better chance of winning. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'd like to see some of these. Like I said, it's excited to see the show and seeing how people are going to stack up. So, I mean, I'd like to see more people in this. But I think Romania's in 2-3 weeks. That's going to be a big show because you win that show, you automatically qualify, and you get more points in that show as well because it's one of the top tier 1 shows. So that's going to be exciting to see. I think a lot of girls, even from US, are going to actually. I think a couple girls from US are actually going to compete in that. I wouldn't be surprised if Ashley Kay hopped in or anyone in the top 10 from the Olympia who are traveling internationally going to be doing that. So yeah, next week we have. I don't know what's next week's show. I think Atlantic Coast. I don't think so. I know there's something international as well. It may be something local, something in the US. All right, that's all for me today. I look forward to doing this again. I have a Q&A episode. I do have some interviews with some athletes. I'm going to have to work some times out with them and obviously I do more editing and stuff for those athletes. I do have a scheduled one for next week. I am going to reach out for a couple of them. I know people are busy. They're traveling, it's post Olympia. I gave people the time off, because I respect their time and the fact that they went through a lot of work. So I'm not trying to make it all about bikini. I also just wanted to talk about life and stuff with them. So you guys stay tuned. If you guys please subscribe, like, comment who you believe is going to win, and I'll see you guys next time.